Australia continues to beef up its security as it adapts to China's growing military clout. Its army is set to undergo a major restructuring, including redeploying hundreds of its soldiers over the next 6 years. The plan involves the creation of specialised combat brigades in the country's north, in the cities of Darwin, Townsville and Brisbane. Townsville will also be the new unofficial home of the Australian Army. The city's mayor welcomed the move, but warned the overhaul could strain the housing situation in the area. The southern city of Adelaide will get a new brigade with long-range fire capacity and integrated air and missile defence. Defence Minister Richard Marles said the move is an important step forward for the Army and one needed for the country's future. This development has received backlash from federal opposition. They claim the move will weaken the Army's capabilities and damage morale. Canberra's strategic review in July had warned of the potential military escalation in the Asia-Pacific. Australia has viewed China's military rise cautiously as it worries that any escalation from Beijing could effectively cut Canberra off from trading partners and global supply chains. Just last month, Australia locked in a deal to buy more than 200 Tomahawk cruise missiles from the United States as part of its new strategy. It plans to develop stealthy, long-range nuclear-powered submarines that can retaliate with a barrage of cruise missiles and little warning. And Roger Maynard explains the significance of this overhaul.
It certainly represents a major shake-up of Australia's defence capability and underlines Canberra's greater concentration on the Pacific as the scene of any possible future conflict. While there's been no mention of containing an increasingly assertive China as part of this latest plan, that's clearly Australia's thinking and how it would respond to the defence of its interests on the country's eastern seaboard. As part of this initiative, hundreds of soldiers will be based in the North Queensland city of Townsville, where there will be an emphasis on training for amphibious warfare. Eventually, all the Army's tanks will be based in Townsville, as well as the other fighting vehicles, self-propelled howitzers, and the Apache and Chinook helicopter fleets. So a large assembly of firepower will be centred on North Queensland. At the same time, defence personnel will continue to be based in Brisbane, Darwin and Adelaide. The Defence Minister, Richard Marles, says it's an important step forward for the Army, which will serve Australia in the future. This major restructure, which will also involve the use of long-range missiles, follows the publication of a significant strategic review of Australia's defence earlier this year. Eventually, that future strategy will involve the use of nuclear submarines and cyber tools to keep the enemy at bay. All this will enable the Australian military to strike from air, land and sea to reply to any potential aggressor. Australia's Pacific neighbours will be following this announcement closely because of their own defence considerations. Military planners here have made no secret in the past of the fact that Australia needs to be able to address any threat from China, whose defence capability is far superior to Australia's. So the obvious question is, will this latest strategy be enough? Certainly not, according to the federal opposition, which warns that the shake-up will actually weaken the country's defence force. Shadow Defence Minister Andrew Hastie, himself a former soldier, says it will hurt Australia's combat ability by shrinking the army and thereby weakening the overall defence force in the event of conflict. Hopefully that view will never be put to the test, but Canberra is clearly taking no chances.